Welcome to the Week in Review. My name is Dean, deanblundell.substack.com. That, of course, is my very good friend, Mr. Lev Parnas, at Lev Remembers on Substack. Go there today, become a subscriber. He is a bright light in the dark, shitty mega sky. And, of course, my friend, venerable investigative reporter from narrative.org, Mr. Zev Shalev. Gentlemen, head start. You know, one of the things I fucking love about doing these with Lev is that in no way will you ever get anything inauthentic in any of our podcasts. You're never going to catch us going, oh, we're going to gin up this narrative. We're going to do that, because we start the podcast as Lev is flowing. Talking about John Bolton getting boned and what the inside scoop is. So why don't we start there? Because Bolton is literally, I think he's in front of a judge right now, right? Just got indicted yesterday in Maryland.
He's in the courthouse now. Literally, as we're doing this right now, he's in Maryland. He is in front of, I think, the judge. They're waiting for the judge just so you can see they're right in front of it. But out of all of these indictments right now so far, I could promise you and I could tell you John Bolton is going to go through some things. John Bolton is definitely
like the Ukrainian ambassador in 2017.
When's the last time I heard that expression, Lev?
Yeah. I want great memory.
You know, it's incredible is that's your phrase. That's your phrase.
That's the phrase.
Yesterday, a couple of days ago, do you remember we were supposed to have Jacob Karsbo on with us, Danish intelligence guy, Malcolm Nance, buddy?
Yeah.
He got hacked. So his account disappeared. Like, Danish intelligence dude, his entire account zipped, nutted, gone.
Let me say that's before we go forward. I just want to make sure and give everybody, the information, because to really be able to do some damage, to be able to save our democracy, we need to let our voice out, because that's my mission. My mission is to not to be able to put on some show, folks. My mission is to give you the raw information, and I risk trust me, I deal with it with my wife every single day. My wife, my kids, and it's not only me. My son Aaron is on this platform. Aaron's all over the place. Substack, TikTok, they're attacking him all over. Besides worried about myself, I got to worry about him. Just want to let everybody know before we even get started into all the craziness that we're dealing with.
It's never been more important to share this content, because we're going to get to some shit today. And this is some shit that you're not going to get from anywhere else, because we're going to speak MAGA. We're going to translate what's going on, because we've got a guy who's fluent, an OG. Also, we've got maybe one of the world's best investigative reporters who knows everything about what's going on in Russia. And Donnie 2 Weeks is heading over to Budapest right now. So let's start and break this down. Let's get comfortable. Let's get to it. John Bolton, he is in court right now, surrendered to authorities after being indicted. 18 counts, gentlemen. 18-count indictment. Former Trump advisor was handed down by a federal grand jury in Maryland as the United States called him, quote, a bad guy, a guy that he was his national security advisor, a guy that wasn't a bad guy until he was a bad guy. And you know how these things go with Donald John Trump. We'll pit stop here real quick. Lev, you can maybe set this up, because I want to know what the 18 counts are. I also want to know if they're legitimate. And I also want to know if, hey, listen, is this political retribution, or is he really a bad guy? Did he do some shit?
How about this? It's all of the above.
Okay, next subject.
Is John Bolton guilty? I have no idea. None of us have an idea. Now let's say that's why we have a court system. Let's answer the second question. Is this political retribution? 100%. It's not, we don't have to guess it. That's Donald Trump has been trying to go after Bolton since 2020, since he's been even while he was in his cabinet, after he was against him while he was in his cabinet, Trump. I remember while I was there, Rudy would go fight with Bolton about Venezuela, about Russia. Well, you name it. There was Iran, you name it. So yes, it's definitely political retribution. But then we get into some other stuff that people really need to understand. That's why the federal government, and that's not even talking about...
That's been the weaponization process of the judiciary in the calmest of times in America.
That's not even talking about the financial process that it costs you, because you're fighting an unlimited amount of money that's going after you with some of the smartest, brightest, Harvard, Yale grade collection of brains out there. So with all of that, that is our typical federal judiciary system. Now you add Donald Trump. Now you add the corruption. Now you add the influence. Now you take away all the barriers. And now you say, okay, you know what? Now I'm going to literally do whatever I want. There's nobody's going to stop me. And I'm going to tell them what to do. And we're going to get rid of anybody that will stand up or talk to us. We're going to threaten anybody that tries to speak up. We're going to fire anybody that doesn't follow along with what we're telling him. And then once we're done doing it, we're going to go on our retribution list. So this is where these people are. The only difference that I'm going to say between John Bolton and, let's say, Comey and Letitia James, because I also believe they are going to go through something, unless, one of their judges, because, listen, yes, is there still some barrier left? A very thin barrier. The thin barrier right now is those judges that could try to end this before it goes any further. I tell you that before I start talking every single day, but unfortunately, if I had to bet, I'm telling you, don't do it. It's not going to happen. So that's where I jump on. As far as his charges now, they're a lot more serious than the others. See, the others are.
Yeah, Comey's we don't even know what Comey's is. It's like two indictments. They threw the third one out, and those are your ham sandwiches. But there seems to be more than a ham sandwich in these indictments with Bolton.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
The Comey's and them, they're also called holding charges.
Yeah,
because usually then you got superseding indictments. Some of the superseding indictments I hear that they're planning on a lot of these people is, again, bullshit charges, but charges that in our country are made up for the citizens, but things that have to be changed. Like, for instance, the IRS laws. Our IRS laws are set up that just like you could indict a ham sandwich, you could indict anybody, any American, at any single time. I don't care how clean, how many accountants he has, how much you try to do it, but there's interpretations of the law one way or the other, and they could charge you with IRS fraud. Okay? That's another, glitch. And what has happened the past few days that's really not being talked about here, but my sources have told me, is Trump has weaponized the IRS. So what he did is he went out there and fired all these IRS agents at first.
He cleared the deck in the IRS. He cleared the deck in the DOJ.
On the pretense, telling everybody, mega, that we're going to get rid of IRS agents. We're going to stop weaponizing the IRS. But it wasn't to stop weaponizing, it was to put in loyalists to now that he could now actually use it as another part of his tool to go after his, retribution list, which is a very long list. And there's people that's being added all along. So now you get to Bolton. Bolton, he's looking at more serious there. You got 18 charges.
Mishandling classified information. 8 of them are unlawful transmission and the rest are unlawful retention. So of classified materials. So it's all Espionage Act stuff.
So nothing financial, Seth.
Nothing financial, but this is espionage. This is spying. Yeah, this is a very serious crime that he's being accused of, crimes he's been accused of. And I mean, the thing is, he's been using AOL, because who uses AOL to do their spying? I guess this guy does. And he's been sending these emails with classified information to his wife and daughter, who have been his editors, he claims, for his books. So he says he's writing a book, and in there, he's got all these classified information that he's been passing to people who aren't supposed to receive this classified information. If you're allowed to handle classified information, you are allowed to handle it. You're not allowed to pass it off to your family members who might be editing a book for you. So this guy has been doing this for a long time. The investigation comes out of a part of the Department of Justice that is not the same as the Halligan Department of Justice, where they're just appointees that Trump has put in there. This is a real investigation that's been going on for a long time. He probably did these things. I mean, it's hard to imagine he didn't, because there's an email record. The most ironic thing of the whole thing is that it was an Iranian hack that revealed that he had been passing all this classified information through his AOL accounts. But, he's Mr. Anti-Iran. He's Mr. I want to go and blow up Iran. And this is Iran's retribution. The other ironic thing is that you've got Donald Trump and Iran actually agreeing on something. They both want Bolton to go to jail for this stuff. So that's an unusual pairing for that alliance.
What a shot to the heart of Bolton. The guys that have been trying to kill him for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they got Donald Trump putting him away. Can you imagine? The thing about it, they couldn't kill him, assassinate him.
Yeah.
Donald Trump comes in, pulls his he says he's open game, and then he says, "Oh, you guys can't do the work. I'll finish him off. I'm going to put him away for you."
The DOJ used Iranian intelligence to basically put away Bolton for
That is
Trump. I mean,
unbelievable.
it's kind of crazy.
But
this
this I want to just add a little bit to what Zev was saying, because it's important to add to just clarify a little bit. Did Bolton do some of these things? Absolutely. I would say I agree 100%. That's why I think he's going to go away. And I think that's why this is why Trump knows, and this is what Trump uses in Trump. So certain things are looked at. So when you get to Bolton's case, all of this classified stuff is not what Trump, when he came, my sources have told me when he came into office, he made them dig into, to look into rules and find to nail him on everything that things. See, if you probably take a look at all of these politicians, they all break.
well, that's what
Even though they're doing all of this
Yeah.
themselves.
So that's why what Zev says, did Bolton do it? Yeah, Bolton probably do it, but I mean, Bolton's not an idiot also. Bolton is one, has been doing this for so many years. He probably did under the assumption
everyone does it.
everyone does. Yeah, even I'm not justifying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's okay, but what that's why I just thought Trump is going. That's why I think that's why my response is why I think they're all going to have problems.
Yeah.
It's because technically he, and again, if we live in a world, because how many people are sitting in prison because of a technicality? Like even take my own charge, for instance. I usually don't talk about stuff like that.
The thing is, Donald Trump is doing what was done to him to everybody else, it seems. He's got Bolton up on these espionage charges that are basically the same charges that he faced for Mar-a-Lago. He's got Letitia James up for mortgage fraud, which is the same charges she had him on in New York City. I mean, it just feels to me like he's trying to prove that you can be a president and be ordering political retribution in order to convince everyone that he was acted against, that he was a victim of political retribution through the DOJ. I mean, it's striking that these are exactly the same charges as Mar-a-Lago.
It's part of the plan. And there's more coming. This is just folks. Just a minute. Let me explain something to you. Donald Trump wants perp walks. He's frustrated that they're not getting perp walked. They're not walking like the was saying to you, like
frog marched in orange outfits. Yeah.
Public humiliation, public shaming.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's more coming, and I'm hearing there's new names to the list. So first of all, right now, number one that they're trying to is Adam Schiff. Mm-hmm. Adam Schiff is target number one. They're also the other.
It's also mortgage fraud, I think.
Well, more and others, not just mortgage fraud. They want to nail. What I'm hearing is they're trying to bring a conspiracy case and bring into this case Adam Schiff, Brennan. They're going to bring in Andrew Weissman and Lisa Monaco.
Wow,
these are the names I'm hearing. That this is going to be part of the attack to try to erase the whole Russiagate in 2016.
A conspiracy around that. All of them charged with the same conspiracy. Wow.
Yeah. Forbid something happens. I said to my wife, if we get pulled over or something, go live right away, please, so people could see what's out. That's kind of the one thing I do think about is like my only savior.
It's crazy that you're thinking about that.
But that's how I live. I mean, we drive. I say, if God forbid, I tell my kids the same thing right away. Get your phone and make sure you go live on Daddy's platform to be able to, so everybody could see what's going on, because we live in a society. Think about the shit that we see.
Can we just stop just for a second here? I want to stop and kind of amplify what you just said. Is that you live in the freest country of the world. You've done your time. You were framed. You went to jail. You are a law-abiding citizen. You're an award-winning whistleblower. You had to have a conversation with your children that, listen, kids, if daddy gets pulled over and popped by my former boss for trying to warn people about the death of democracy in this country, I need you to go live on my fucking Substack platform. Like, just soak that in for a minute. That is what Lev Parnas deals with on a daily basis. Almost like the conversation, I'm going to use this with all due respect, many black families have to have with their sons and daughters when they start driving. right? They call it the talk. It's a travesty. It is a tragedy. It is anxiety laden for children and your kids who've been through so much already being swatted. Play that across the spectrum in the United States of America, not just for whistleblowers, but anybody that is Antifa, progressive, anti-Trump this weekend with the rallies all across the United States. But speaking of wars at home, which is amazing. And I said this to another guy the other day. He's like, why do you not like Donald Trump? I'm like, dude, he pretends to be the peacemaker abroad while warring with his own people at home, while attacking his own people at home. And I want to get to the abroad stuff because the deal maker, the peacemaker, press conference yesterday announces a bunch of different shit. It was dementia filled. It was insane. But he basically announced that he and Putin had a long talk. There are probably not going to be any tomahawks. He gives it 2 weeks. Donnie, 2 weeks is back, and he's on his way to Budapest to meet with Zelensky and Putin, and he thinks he's close to a deal in Ukraine. Lev, you're smiling, being as tagged into Ukraine, tagged into the process, you having people on the inside. Your thoughts? Donnie, 2 weeks is just laying the groundwork to get Putin what Putin wants, or is this just more of the same bullshit?
And I apologize. I'm not laughing because this is funny. I think
it's the same shit every fucking 2 weeks.
This is. I'm just like, if I close my eyes and I get a smile on my face because I feel like this is like not reality. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit because what we're seeing play out. But then when you open up your eyes and when you stop talking, you realize that how real this is.
Yeah.
Because while we're talking about all this bullshit and all of these things, which we're going to get into, the one thing that people always need to realize that there are real people that are dying, real kids that are dying right now as we speak, displaced, bombs,
kidnapped.
You have shaheeds, you have ballistics, you have all kinds of barrage nonstop every day, getting worse and worse that you just don't hear about unless you're following us, unless you're listening to us. The media is not talking about. Nobody's talking about. The Europeans are not even talking about because they're scared for their own. We spoke about that, me and Zev, even about that, because they're all now worried about their own internal security because that's part of the psychological warfare that Putin has unleashed on all of Eastern Europe and all over there. So it's a very sick thing to think about the way they're doing it. So I need to take you folks back just a little bit. If you remember, this is going back even further than the Alaska meeting, because the last time they did this thing was the Alaska meeting. But this plan was, if you remember, going back to when I reported and I told you that there was a secret delegation that flew in here from St. Petersburg. This is going back a few months. And where the plan was hatched that they are going to delay, prolong, and put them onto their knees, and then Trump is going to come in like the white knight.
Was that the meeting? Sorry, just to clarify, was that the meeting that happened shortly after Trump got into office? I think it was 3-4 months. And so many Russians that had been sanctioned were coming to the United States. They actually had to repeal sanctions for like 15 guys. Is that the same meeting?
No, that was separate. This happened. I'll go back. I'll try to find the Substack when I wrote about it. But this was right when, I think, when Trump went to NATO or something like that. And as he was returning, it was, again, it was about what they were planning on the Turkey. There was supposed to be a meeting in Turkey between the Russian. And
Putin didn't show up.
So it was around that time frame playing out.
Yeah, that's when he mocked the thing. He said, "Yeah, I was in Turkey. I was at a coffee shop, though." Remember that?
So basically, there was a delegation that flew and never was reported about, never was talked about, and this plan was hatched. And ever since then, you saw it go into effect. The same thing what we're seeing happen today happened exactly during the Alaska meeting. The day before, taking you folks back, when Trump announced that they were going to have the Alaska meeting, this was thrown at him by Vladimir Putin on a Thursday, right before Friday, when Trump was supposed to come out with some major sanctions that he promised the whole world against Russia, right when he sanctioned India for 50%. And the funny part, while we talk about India, he came out yesterday and said, India will not ever buy oil again. What India say today? We don't know what the hell he's talking about. We never made that statement. We're buying Russian oil. So again, even to that fact. But the reason why he said it, what people don't know, is because who is now the ambassador of India? You guys know? You want me to tell you? You're going to love this one. Sergey Gore.
Oh, his former chief of staff and Russian pal. Oh my
Wow.
God.
He gets a job as the ambassador to India. Oh my God.
Zev, please go Google. I want you to right now while we're talking. I want you to quickly do some investigation. You'll see what I'm talking about.
That is
Okay, of course, the
unbelievable.
Russians send in their own. So this
Yeah, I wrote about him. He's one of Putin's guys. I mean, like it's just
They're all Putin's guys.
that's so Trump makes. Just think about why would Trump make one of Putin's guys India's ambassador? Because here's the connect. This is the backdoor channels of conversation. This is how Trump does things. Shadow diplomacy. This is why I wrote this book, Shadow Diplomacy. If you make sure, if you haven't read it, you will understand. Shadow diplomacy. Trump doesn't trust his own people. Even though they came in, they purged everybody, he still runs. Who are the main people running everything? Stephen Witkoff, Jared Kushner, not people on the books.
Miller.
Stephen Miller. But he has people doing it that are loyal to his cause, to whatever that cause of. They needed to prolong it. And don't forget what else was going on at that time. The Epstein files. It was very important. Trump was under big heat. Dan Bongino, we broke the story. The meeting was supposed to take place between, and Vance was going to have a meeting. Everybody, this was all coming up. And what happened? I'm just reminding you folks, Steve Witkoff was summoned to Moscow by Vladimir Putin. And while they were in the crowd without any interpreters, folks, Stephen Witkoff picked up the phone and called Trump and said, Vlad is willing to meet with you. That will break all the media. It will take everything away. And what happened? Trump comes out on a Thursday, right before Friday, before everything's, and says, we're meeting in Alaska. And what happens? The media goes wild.
Because Trump is on Putin's leash. And this is another example of that. You've got this situation where you've got his commander, his bastard tells his puppy, you'll be here in 2 weeks in Budapest, and no ways are you sending tomahawks to the Ukrainians. Be here. And Trump jumps. He jumps. He doesn't even think about it for 2 seconds.
Zev, no, it's even more than that. They've already worked this plan out. This is why I'll give you, that's why you saw yesterday. Think about what happened the past 2 days prior to this phone call with Putin. You had Pete Hegseth fly over to Denmark and make a whole show to make sure that the whole world and everybody got the headlines, the clips that America is pushing to send Patriots, Tomahawks, and are forcing NATO. They've made a whole show to make sure that all of these, remember they said only 7 NATO countries, now we have half the NATO countries, they're willing to buy all of this. And what does Trump say today? Wait a second. We don't have enough for our own. Forget about Putin. Forget about. We don't even have enough for our own stockpile.
For what, dude? And that's the thing. Like when he said that yesterday, he's like, "We don't have enough tomahawks for us. Why would we sell tomahawks to other people when we don't have them?" And no one asked the follow-up question, which I thought was fucking fascinating. Right? When the follow-up question there should have been, "What do you need them for?"
But not only what do you need for is why is Hegseth out there screaming to make sure that they buy them and send them to Ukraine?
Because his Secretary of Defense literally said 2 days ago in Belgium that he had enough tomahawks. That's why he was there selling them. Maybe we should talk to his Secretary.
And then the other thing I want to just say to you, this is not coincidence. When people say, "Oh, Zelensky was," this is not coincidence. They knew that they played this out as long as they could. They've been talking about sending tomahawks since the meeting that they had in Alaska. How long ago? That was a while. They lasted for a while. Every single day, Russia has accelerated their attacks onto Ukraine while this is going on. But no tomahawks ever reached. Yes, you have Vladimir Zelensky running around making statements saying, "Oh, we have the best relationship with Donald Trump. Donald Trump now understands that he's being played by Putin. Donald Trump." And in the meantime, he's like, "You know what? All right, come visit me again.
Let's have a chat again in the Oval Office.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an offer." Yeah, he's going to give him an offer he can't refuse today because he's going to tell him, "Listen, it's time because they're planning on hitting you hard. And if you don't, you got to understand, there's another thing happening simultaneously. There's just so much going on, folks. We need to connect the dots. I'm sorry it might take a little longer, but this is extremely important because while you're having this play out, just think about it. If you have a split screen simultaneously, you have Putin's sanctioned special envoy to America, his right hand that we spoke about for several days, and we gave you the breakdown, Kirill Dmitriev, actively working with Congresswoman Anna Paula Luna about legitimizing trade between the U.S., releasing KGB JFK files without any validation, KGB files. And then he took it a step further, because right after the phone call, he put out a tweet where he tagged Elon Musk and is now the Russians are offering a peace bridge.
Yeah.
A Donald Trump peace bridge.
From Siberia to Alaska, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Thank you so much. From Siberia to Alaska.
Are you serious? Is that a real offer? That's a real offer.
Kirill Dmitriev, I've got the clip right here. I've got it. He literally got like a drawing.
Which of course is a war
See
bridge.
that? See that drawing? It connects, and he tags Elon Musk, and he doesn't do it once. He does it like 2 or 3 times. Tags Elon Musk, Kirill Dmitriev, who's in charge of all of Russia's money, and he's Putin's right hand. And he's like, let's get building. Let's do it together. Let's do a peace bridge or a peace tunnel, something, but let's have peace. And the tweet that you're talking about, and I just wanted to point this out, connect these dots. Anna Paulina Luna saying, we need peace. Let's stop the war. Russia and the United States need to be friends. I got the FBI files from the KGB about JFK, but let's just run this back, because this is about trade, right? The normalization's trade, getting people climatized, getting people to think that Donald Trump's really a good dude, and so is Putin, and we all just need to be friends now and just stop it. We need to stop it. So Trump says this in that Truth Social post after his conversation with Putin: I've concluded my telephone conversation with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. It was a very productive one. President Putin congratulated me and the United States on a great accomplishment of peace in the Middle East. That doesn't exist, so that's a lie. I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help in our negotiation in attaining the end of the war with Russia-Ukraine. President Putin thanks the First Lady, Melania, of course she's got to be involved, for her involvement with the children. Doesn't talk about what that is, but 30,000 Ukrainian children are fucking missing and being horse traded online. So let's go back to this. Melania, talk about trade. This is where it gets cool. He was very appreciative and said that this will continue, whatever it means. We also spent a great deal of time talking about trade. Trade between Russia and the United States, and the war with Ukraine is over.
And that's why, let me break to you. I'll give you breaking news right now. You could timestamp it, and then we could come back after the meeting in Budapest. This is again putting Russia back onto the world stage. It's about getting relationships. It's about starting, and because Trump is now going to start relationships with his favorite Viktor Orban. And it's going to be Putin. He's going to have a whole delegation probably come with them. There's deals being worked out. And I'm telling you, you're going to see soon announcements in the United States of Russian oligarchs, Russian money being invested into building power plants, building technologies, buying up. He's going to come out and I have great news. The guy that we sanctioned, the guy that we tried to interfere, the new guy into our election, is cleared. No more. He is planning on investing $100 billion into building a power plant in Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's
Russia bringing jobs to America is what they're going to be claiming. It's so interesting, that peace bridge. Can I just say something about that? Because Russia has designs on Alaska. They want Alaska back as part of Russia. This is not a peace bridge, but it also reminds me of the bridge, and I think it's the Crimean bridge that they have in Turkey, which has been the mainstay of their supply line into their Russian forces. Then, if they want a bridge between Russia and Alaska, who has to worry about that is Canada, because that's a supply line directly to the Canadian front and the Arctic front.
Well, listen, part of that Kirill Dmitriev tweet that he put to Elon Musk had not just a bridge from fucking, to your point, Canada, True North Star and free. Alaska's locked in. I mean, the only way to Alaska on land is through Canada, right? Yeah. So the only way from Alaska into the United States is through Canada. And this rendering that Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's right-hand dude, put out and asked Elon Musk to help him build, literally cut a fucking highway right through Canada into the United States. It was just like, I'm like, hold it just a second. I know how fucking Greenland feels. Like, you can't just fucking appropriate several thousand miles of Canadian land because
you can if you've taken over the country.
Well, that's the thing, right? This is, it feels like this is the acclimatization process, Lev, or the warming up process to the idea that Canada's next. Just stay tuned.
Well, listen, everything is on the table, but
and they label them Antifa and radical left for a reason. And we're seeing it, to your point. And what Lev said is 100% true. They've increased capacity to 2 million people. In 2 million, they have increased capacity to jail people, to put you in penitentiaries in these facilities. There are 2 million empty spaces. Who the fuck do you think they're going after?
Well, I mean,
because they're sending
Antifa,
everybody they don't want.
They're going to go after every LGBTQ person around.
They're going to go after
an entry point to every all of that.
Dissent.
And the other part of that same memorandum is speaks all about overthrowing the government.
Yeah,
you can't be overthrowing the government, which is a constitutional right, by the way, in America. You can't do that. So if you're protesting,
you got to go
tomorrow, and you're saying, "Hey, we want to get rid of the Trump regime," you're screwed.
Listen, guys, I know we've been at this for about an hour and 20 minutes, and I think probably, want everybody to get on with their day, and I can't thank everybody enough for being here today. What we talked about today in this week in review, these are signposts. These are warnings, but we give you receipts. We talk about things from a firsthand perspective, which is the importance of an incredible whistleblower and American hero in Lev Parnas being willing to put his life on the line, being willing to put his security and safety at risk. We had a couple of very personal stories today. It is a travesty that we have to talk about this because mainstream media, which has been given the privilege of having the ability to actually get into your eyes and ears on a daily basis, refuse to. They refuse to tell you about what's underneath the hood of this fascist fucking runaway bus that is currently careening through the United States of America and may come up to Canada as well. We're watching these two superpowers, Russia and the United States, through two war criminals, two absolutely of the worst fucking characters in the history of leadership on this fucking planet. And yes, you can put them right there with the Hitlers of the world. And what we're trying to do is communicate to you that you have a duty to observe and a duty to warn.
Hey, Dean, before you go, and this is not for myself, folks, but for the people of Ukraine, I know this is a touchy subject, especially with what we're seeing play out. We now know no matter what, this war is not stopping today. We're not getting more missiles. Ukraine is going to be under extreme hit. The winter time is coming, and there's a lot of things. A lot of people are trying to help each and every way they can. Our community here, we have a small community, Lev members, and Voice from Ukraine, and with all your help from Canada, from all of the different people you guys have been helping so far this summer. We've done incredible work by being able to help them with hygiene packages, but the winter time is coming and they need a lot more and they need a lot of support. We put together a GoFundMe for Alexander. You guys know Alexander from Voice from Ukraine.
Yep.
Been on here. And I'm asking you on behalf of him, he's ready to go. We have already about 25-30% raised. We just need a little bit more. I'm asking each and every one of you to go a little further, reach it here. Those of you have that contribute, donate, God bless you, thank you. Those that haven't yet, if you can't, spread at least the message. Spread the GoFundMe all over the place. Let's get them going because now they're going to need more help than ever before. And, God bless you guys for all the help you've already given.
Yeah. Can we just get that up here right now? It's called Donate to Provide Essential Hygiene for Kharkiv. That is at GoFundMe.com. I'm going to share that throughout my socials. I'll make sure I post it in a note coming up here in just a minute. $15,411 raised to a $50,000 goal. People have been, this has doubled since we talked about this earlier in the week in 2 days.
That's right. God bless everyone.
So incredible. Oh my God. Yeah.
I spoke to Alex today. He's already literally, that's why he called me with tears in his eyes. They've ordered the first shipment. They already got stuff going out there from the raise. But see, with Alex, he wants to go there himself. So he's waiting for the bigger shipment to come there. He told me they're making special packages. Alex knows exactly what they need because he's been around. So he's making his own packages. So he's putting, for instance, heating packages. He's putting sanitary napkins. He's putting dry washing stuff. He's putting some kind of food supply, like these care packages in this package, because it's not one thing. They need all. And he's going into the things that most people overlook. because they're so small, because we always tend to think about we need clothes, we need food, we need military, we need car, we need shelter, the big item packages, and we forget that something simple like not being able to take a shower for 2, 3 weeks causes a lot of problems and diseases and everything like that. Wear socks because, or a heating pad in the pair of socks because you have no heat. Because one of the things we're talking right now is that part of what Russia's attacking is infrastructure. They're trying to freeze them. And I ask of you to go read my Substack earlier. You'll see what I'm talking about. I wrote about is their planned attack, and if you'll see, is not only psychological warfare on the people, on the kids, and by threat, but they're hitting their energy infrastructures because the winter's coming. And the plan, and this is what they're telling Trump also, is the plan is to put Ukraine on its knees. So Trump comes in and like this white savior. They couldn't do it in the summer. Remember the summer offense? Didn't work. Why? Because they can't do it. Ukraine stood up to it. On the contrary, Ukraine even hit them and destroyed their own oil refineries.
They seem to forget that part, though, Lev, sometimes, that Ukraine will decide what Ukraine wants to do with Ukraine. The outlier here is no matter what, and we're talking about aid, we'll get to in a second. I just want to point that out, is that one of the things that I love the most about the Ukrainian people and that incredible country of warriors and heroes isn't that they're still here, is that they're fucking winning. And now they're producing their own material to be able to strike back at the heart of the machine that has committed genocide, stolen their children, raped their women, killed their citizens. And so we're talking a lot about what Russia and Trump want. We're talking about supporting the people of Ukraine. And these GoFundMes are so important, specifically this GoFundMe. Again, I'll post this all over our socials today. You can find it in a post that I put up, including a week in review. But this is the one thing that people have to understand, is that Ukraine is doing this because of people like Lev, because of heating packs, because, of the Howard Buffetts of the world that are able to flood the zone and help them build drone warfare. Now Ukraine is the second largest army in all of fucking Europe, and they are a legitimate threat to Russia. So the importance of supporting them now cannot be more understated, to your point.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank each and every one of you. Dean, God bless you. Zev, you too. God bless you guys. I know you guys are stand with Ukraine. You help, you spread the message. And folks, each and every one of you, this is an all-around thing. Policies, times are not that easy nowadays. So that's why each and every one of us could do something. Hopefully you've got enough information that has putting you in a place where you know what's going on now, and you don't have to listen to the fake media and get their headlines.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Zev. Thanks, Lev. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for the 5 stack. Keep an eye on where Lev is today as well. Thank you, Lev. And keep an eye out wherever we are, because wherever we are, you are. And the good news about that, my dear friend, Zev Shalev, is, and I say this all the time, this was one of the most impactful hour and a halves that I've ever been a part of. And it was great because it started with us not knowing what we were here to do. All right. It started with us going, what are we talking about today?
We were having a meeting.
Yeah. So I thought it was a meeting too. It turned into a Substack Live because of the importance of the subject matter, because of where we are as a society, because of where we are in North America, and because of what is at stake. And to your point, we are, whether or not you're Canadian, whether or not you're French, whether or not you're from Switzerland, you might be from Norway, the No Kings protests and the No Tyrants protests that are going on around the world this weekend are a response. It's a democratic response. Ability to speak freely, to destroy your First Amendment right. Your activists, one of all time, John Lewis, get into good trouble this weekend. So stay safe this weekend. See you at 3 o'clock for the 5 stack with my friend Zev Shalev, and have a great next 2 to 3 hours before we come back here and do this again, only different and way faster.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. By the way,
Thanks,
tomorrow,
guys.
Nick Power and Narrative will be doing live coverage together for No Kings Protest.